Welcome to the broadcast, everyone. I want to share with you some gossip that I picked up recently from extended family members, old chums, old acquaintances. As you know, there have been occasions in my family lately, both jubilant and solemn, which brings together lots of people one doesn't normally get to see face to face, you understand? And it gives one the opportunity to share in a more intimate way. And I would like, over the next few weeks, to share some of these morsels that have been given to me with you in the most discreet way that I can, that I'm able to, because I think it would be rather fun to do so. So I'm going to share some information with you today that was given me from a party of grand provenance. And I don't exaggerate when I say that. One of the grandest, and I would say of most noble heritage, this family in the entire land. So I don't take the whisper lightly. In fact, as far as I'm concerned, it's more than a whisper, it's fact. I mean, you can take it with a pinch of salt, you can take it or leave it, you can take it up the arse for all I care, my dear. I really don't mind. It's what I've been told, what I believe. I wasn't in the room when it happened, but my source, this connection is absolutely pristine. So it's what I'm told and what I believe. And to make it very clear to you, my connections fountainhead from whence this information sprang, whereabouts the time, I'm not sure if it was before or after, presumably before, but the year of Archie's birth, it sprang from Sussex lips. Yes, I said it. It sprang from Sussex lips, not just from anybody else. Remember, this was a time when the Sussexes were more cosy and had more chums here in the kingdom. This was before Brexit and everything took off, so there was a lot more chatter, there was a lot more information shared between trusted sources and chums. So that's what I believe, what I'm about to share. And Harry and Meghan, Harold and Rochelle, if you don't like what I'm about to say, if we're about to be treated to the crescendo of smashing plates from the Montecito mansion overseas, then sue me. Sue me! And yes, I'm going to dress it up for you, because this is the River broadcast. I could probably give the information to you within about 3 seconds flat. But then I wouldn't have a show. So I will do it in my usual style, with great drama, a bit of flair, and lots of silliness, my dear. But do remember, as ridiculous and silly as what I'm about to share with you is, and these revelations are, remember that I also brought to your attention several years ago the fact that Meghan had been really appalled by the prospect of her darling son going on to be known as Earl of Dumbarton. Do you remember? And she was horrified that, well, he'd obviously be known as Dumbo. It's got the word dumb in it. That's why she was so affronted. You know, I brought that to your attention. Then sometime later, it was actually revealed to be a truthed and confirmed as such. That really did happen, as the Telegraph told us from their good sources. So, you know, if you think this sounds silly, think on't. I actually want to put it down, not just for you, but also so that there's a historical record for historical posterity, I suppose you could say. But I'm simply here to furnish you with these delights of fancy. Now, pull up a throne and shut that door, my dears. As we all know, to our chagrin, Princess Lilibet, or Little Diana, was named after the late Queen, wasn't she? The late Queen Liz, and the Sussexes had schemed to todger in and claim that brand, the royal brand, reimagined for their modern audience, if you will, their modern audience of oh-so-compassionate lunatics. They wanted to use the name Lilibet to keep close links to the highest echelons of royalty, the echelons that only Charles and Camilla, William and Catherine and George are and will be privy to. That's their destiny, my dear, not yours, Harry. There's not going to be a Henry the Ninth, no matter how much you caterwaul. So we know that went on with Lilibet, but when it came to the first child, the firstborn, the firstborn, why Archie? Why did they drum up and come up with the name Archie? We all know that Meghan had a crush on the cartoon strip character boy, didn't she? The one with red hair, freckles, and a hapless expression. Must have reminded her of somebody. She had that crush, but let's face it, that wasn't really firm enough as a reason to be the name that was given to her first son. As we know, Empress Meghan is queen of the lexicon. She likes everybody to know that she furnishes every detail of her life with great consideration as to the lettering and the etymology, the ancient Greek, the Latin roots of every single word, the ancient tongues, etymological, scatological, categorical, etc., etc. Archie's second name went on to be Harrison, didn't it? Because Meghan is just oh so clever, she's oh such a genius, and it means Harry's son. Do you get it? Do you get me? Harrison, Harry's son. Ain't I a genius? There was no precedent for royal Archies, as far as I'm aware, or Archibalds. No, there wasn't. Diana actually had a very distant cousin who was the 9th Earl of Argyll. No, not a cousin as such, but an ancestor. I can't remember how they were related, to be honest with you, but there was what you would reckon to be Archibald Campbell, known as Archie Argyll. But actually, I hear tell that he was known as Baldy Campbell. That's what he was known as, Baldy Campbell. I really don't imagine that Harry would go in for a Prince Baldy of Sussex, do you? I don't think that would have flown with him, but quite seriously now, everything under the House of Sussex, as they would have it, and in particular under Meghan, is intentional, isn't it? It's contrived and it's confected with every single machination they come out with. So why did they call him Archie? What was the impetus? It's not even a royal name. Well, my dears, it was not the first choice. No. No, it wasn't the first choice. Which other name do you think could have been proposed as a tribute in loving memoria, of course, while simultaneously managed to piss off the late Queen Liz, Prince Charles as he was, William and Catherine Cambridge as they were? What would really piss all over their bonfires? Which name? Charles. And you might wonder, well, why on earth would Harry agree to this, naming his son Charles? He hated Charles. Yeah, of course, yes, Harry was brimful of scorn and vengeance, yet to be revealed, later revealed within the pages of Spare Me the Detail. So, yeah, indeed he was initially unconvinced by this suggestion, but he was reassured that Prince Charles of Sussex would be informally known as Charlie, and actually later on this became the ultimate suggestion. Charlie might be a sort of more modern-sounding alternative. You know, it was a sort of foreshadowing of what they suggested would become of the name Lilibet once they stole that she would be formerly Lilibet but known as Lily, you know, formerly Charles but known as Charlie. I am told that this suggestion, my dears, was the preferred and proffered name, and it was proposed at the highest level. At the highest level, yes. It's also Harry's second name, by the way, so that comes into the equation, Harry Charles. He's got a few names, but Harry and Charles are the first two. The naming of Princess Lilibet occurred after Megxit, of course, when they were already moved abroad, and they sprung it on Granny Liz, didn't they? They absolutely sprang it on her after they had ostensibly already named the child. They tried to tell us that the Queen gave her blessing. They asked for permission, gave blessing. That wasn't the case at all. They'd already named the bairn, and they threw it into a conversation with Granny and said, oh, by the way, we've done this. What do you think of that? Well, what else was she supposed to do at that stage but gracefully acquiesce? And you're about to find out exactly why they named Lilibet in that cunning fashion and in that order, that timeline, why they did it, because they'd had their fingers burnt with this naming of Archie, you see, and they'd been put in their place. And actually it illustrates quite a dose of cunning and of subterfuge, what happened in this naming of Lilibet, because they were not granted permission. No doubt the late Queen Liz was in some sort of horror about the whole thing. But back in the day, the first time around, when they were mooting names for the firstborn, the suggestion of the name Charles and of Charlie as an alternative was politely but surely discouraged. This is what I'm told. Surely discouraged. Not by advisors, you might imagine, or members of the household, by aides or by courtiers or the grey men in suits that they whinge about, and not, as you might have imagined, by Prince Charles. That wasn't where the discouragement came from. The suggestion was discouraged by the late Queen Elizabeth. Yes, also known as Granny. It was pooh-poohed by her. Why, you might ask? Surely that would be very cruel. No wonder they turned against the royal family. This would have been an affectionate nod to Charles, to Harry's father. Wouldn't it be cruel to deny the connection? Well, actually, the dismissal wasn't done in a reproachful manner by the late Queen. She didn't dress them down. It was done casually, it was done with humour, and it was a gentle prick to burst the bubble, because you understand, even though drama hadn't unfolded in public, the late Queen had been privy to drama behind the scenes. She sensed what was going on. She knew what was going on and had discussed things involving frictions, ongoing frictions with Charles and with William and Catherine, and she was hoping to ameliorate the chances of dramas yet to unfold. So she didn't say no in that word, not her style. Actually, the first thing she said when it was proposed to her, Charles or Charlie, she said, "Oh, I thought you might have gone for Philip, Harry. I thought you might have gone for Philip." She slipped that in there because she knew that Harry understood that the late Queen did see a bit of Harry in Philip and Philip in Harry, the twinkle in the eye, the irreverence, a little sprinkling of mischief. So Philip actually did seem like an obvious choice, as well as being Charles's second name. Charles, Philip, Arthur, George. So you had that connection as well. Philip was known amongst family members as the Duke, as you might have heard Mickey Tyndall speaking about him with great affection as, and even Harry, but yes, the Duke. And I'm told that Meghan actually, when Philip was proposed, she said, "Oh, I don't like Philip. No, I don't want Philip or Phil. Philip of Sussex? No. But if anything, if we had to name the child after Philip, then we would call the child Duke, because Philip was known as the Duke. Duke Harrison of Sussex, you know, along this sort of line." But she sat on it, they sat on it, and Meghan wanted the next monarch's name. This is what was really rattling her cage. She wanted her son to be imbued with the name of the next king. She wanted that name emblazoned, branded onto that progeny, whether it be Charles or a derivative of it, such as Charlie. Actually, Charlie became a favourite. So it had been indicated to them that Charles would not be acceptable. She thought, well, I'm going to play with the lettering. If I can't have Charles, then I will find a way to sneak Charles into the name in my own way, because I'm such a wordsmith, I'm such a lettersmith. Leave me with it. So, of course, she starts Googling anagrams of Charles and Charlie. Immediately, one of the first words that comes up is arch. Arches, even though it misses the L. I think Charles is 7 letters, arches. Yeah, is 6. Misses the L, but arches. So, of course, she puts that into her brain, doesn't she? And later down the road, we have Archewell, archetypes. Archie this, Archie that, arch rivals, arch nemesis. Archie Plonker, Archie Bunker. So she had discovered that. And then she starts playing with Charlie, 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 anagrams of it. And what springs up as the best choice, taking those letters into account? Archie. Archie, with only the L left over. So she thinks, okay, I've seized that. I like that name. Really, really like that. Archie from Charlie, a name within a name. I got one letter left over though. I'm a wordsmith. This won't work with this odd L. What am I going to do with the L? Well, maybe we can use it for the next child. What's it going to be? Elizabeth. Lizzie. No, can't call daughter that. Too old-fashioned. Lizzie, Lily. Lilibet. Do you see how it all came about, my dear? The 6 letters that are in Archie were plucked from the name Charlie. This is how it came into being, which was their preferred choice, thereby concealing the name within a name, and with the seventh letter, L, preserved and pickled for Lilibet to come in the future, you see. Queen Elizabeth's precious pet name pocketed for later purpose. Now, when Archewell was announced as a venture, the Sussexes claimed at the time that they had been musing on the word arc, or Archie, meaning source of action, since before the launch of the Sussex Royal website in 2020. That was their claim, but I'm here to tell you that no matter when they began toying about with the word arc, they were originally inspired by using the name of Harry's father. And it's one of their modus operandi, isn't it? You know, when they feel that they've been insulted or unfairly shorn of feathers, or dressed down, or rejected, refused, or silenced, then their modus operandi is, hold on one cotton-picking minute, there's a jack-in-the-box around the corner. Our deus ex machina is about to strike into action and show you exactly who's boss. That'll teach you, they say, that'll teach you and put you in your place. Oh yes, too clever for you, so suck it up and suck salt. Suck my nether regions. And while you're at it, you can bow to my little Todger, and to my wife and her royal muff. You can bow to it, curtsy to it, Dusty Liz, Poison Pa, Willy and Weighty. You know what to do. Yes. And that is how the name Archie was chosen. It's extracted from Charlie, which was their first choice, well, along with Charles, which they would have had if they could have had Prince Charles of Sussex, or Prince Charlie of Sussex. They couldn't have Charlie, no, they couldn't have Charlie. So she spun around the letters and drew out Archie. There was a special screening, I think it was only last night, that was hosted by the Queen's Reading Room. It was a screening of the new movie Hamnet. Have you been hearing about this? It's been causing quite a stir, attracting rave reviews, Academy Award nominations, this, that and the fourth, and it's based upon an adaptation of the historical fiction novel of the same name that imagines the life and the marriage of William Shakespeare, focusing on his wife Agnes, or Anne Hathaway as she was, and the death of their 11-year-old son, who was called Hamnet Shakespeare, Hamnet, and nobody actually knows how he died. There were rumours that the bubonic plague was involved, or famine. There were all various different kind of rumours about how he died, but you know, I think a third of children in those days under the age of 10 died, so it was not unusual. His death was speculated upon and disputed away from this work of fiction, but that's what happens in that novel and this movie, and it's really captured the public imagination. And the death of this boy in the movie has a profound influence on Shakespeare's later writing of Hamlet, you see. Gilly Brandreth was there to oversee the occasion with a very camp flourish, announcing Her Majesty the Queen.
Would you please welcome Her Majesty the Queen?
As only he can do in that inimitable style. Meghan will want you for a bugler, Mr. Brandreth. Jolly dear, yes, Meghan will have you in great demand as a trumpeter and a bugler. Queen Meghan! Yeah. The Queen made small talk with all of the lovies assembled, and she met with the cast and the crew and the costume designers, and she worked the room at this event in collaboration with Universal and Focus Features. The Princess of Wales has been in peak condition in the Peak District, with her twin peaks modestly shrouded in an olive utility jacket and a plait, at Mind Over Mountains, which is a charity offering professional mental health support through therapeutic outside experiences, and she took part in a supported walk of well-being through the district. The Peak District is a rather stunning and impressive national park in central England, and I was interested to read this, I didn't know, but there are 15 national parks in Britain, with the Peak District being the first of all of these designated as such in 1951. I didn't realise it was actually quite so recent as that. The Peak District is the size of Greater London, 555 square miles, so it's quite a size, and there are 26,000 miles worth of dry stone wall running through it. It reaches into 5 different counties of the kingdom, and unlike many of our national parks, which are more or less like wilderness, beautiful wildernesses, this is a living landscape which is home to 38,000 people and 13 million visitors every year. You can see Catherine engaging with mindfulness exercises at the top of a hill and standing in a puddle. The royal plait was showcased under a baker boy hat in houndstooth and chocolate-coloured jodhpur jeans. Catherine's engagements continued throughout the north of England. She sells seashells on the seashore. That would make a rather a good job for Meghan, actually, wouldn't it? If everything falls through with as ever, she can become Meghan the Mermaid and sell seashells on the seashore. Catherine showed a young girl how to listen for the ocean in her shell-like. This was at Family Action Children's Trauma Therapy Service in Bradford. The first of 3 engagements of the day, curated to highlight the healing power of creativity, community and nature for people who've experienced trauma, isolation and poor mental health. The girl, in turn, showed the princess a potion that she'd made to keep the bad dreams away. Catherine is patron of Family Action. The charity helps children from 4 to 18-year-olds and their families recover from trauma. And then it was to West Yorkshire, for Wakefield's Trinity Grounds and Rugby League, where Her Royal Highness met schoolgirls learning rugby skills. The blazer by Holland Cooper in brown herringbone, the ear gems Cartier Trinity, the smile all her own. She sat with a group of Wakefield supporters, aged 60 to 90, all regulars at the social events of the Community Foundation's Super League charitable arm, supporting older people at risk of loneliness. Their Majesties marked Holocaust Memorial Day by hosting a reception for survivors of the Holocaust and their families, alongside organisations who are working to ensure that the memory of that grave episode in history and all the lives involved is remembered and not forgotten. This is at Buckingham Palace, and their Majesties viewed portraits of 7 survivors who had been honoured for services to Holocaust awareness and education, and the King viewed a portrait of Anne Frank, created for the Anne Frank Trust UK. I'd like to see a portrait or painting done in collaboration with Lisa Frank, wouldn't you, my dears? I think that'd be a fabulous collab. Anne Frank with Lisa Frank. Yes, that would be something, wouldn't it, my dear? That would grab some attention and be artistic and rather fun. The ultimate collaboration. Charles and Camilla lit candles of remembrance and spoke with survivors who are approaching their 100th year now, you know, and beyond it, some of them. The Queen allowed the King to lead the charge, a discreet and glittering consort she is, illuminating the shadows. The Duke of Kent marked the occasion himself at the Imperial War Museum, and His Royal Highness watched a performance by the English Chamber Orchestra. A picture of duty, service, and I'd say of elegance, wouldn't you, my dear Fritz? It was a joy to see you. Stay fruity and always on royal duty. Toodle pip.